Hey everyone, it's Chris. Welcome back to the Ridge. Today, I'm showing you how to set up your own maple sap collection tubing system, starting with hanging the support wire for the main line. It's simple and anyone can do it, even with just a few sugar maples. So stick around and I'll walk you through step by step on how you can easily set up your own maple sap collection system. Join us!
Sweet Maple Ridge Farms. Come on down, everybody. Go!
Everyone, thanks for joining us back here on the channel. So today I'm excited to show you how to set up your own maple sap collection tubing system, also known as Mainline. We're starting with the first step, which is hanging the support wire that will hold our 1-inch food grade tubing securely. This setup makes it easy to collect lots of sap. And you know what the best part is? Anyone can do it. You don't need any special skills or any special knowledge. Just follow along, and by the end of this video, you'll know how to hang up the wire, which is the first step of hanging your main line. The first step is hanging the wire, and then the second step is hanging up the main line. So just watch to the end, and you'll know how to do that. And even if you only have a few sugar maples, this applies to you. So let's get started. Your tap trees are going to be. Now, if you look over here, we have lots of lateral lines hooked up. We have a main line there. And then you can see over here, we have a bunch of trees with blue ribbon over here that don't have any taps. Those are the ones we're going to tap. And then we're going to take all these trees, which last year went into a bucket, and then all these trees that last year went into a bucket that don't connect to that one, we're going to put into this new main line that we're going to put in. So let me show you the tools that you need to get started. This is not hard. Trust me, if I can do it, it's not hard. We put this up last year, and our existing main line, and it's held up great. I'll tell you what, thanks to the Maple dude and his video for showing us what to do. That video is like 45 minutes long, so I'll show you here just briefly what we got to do. So first, you need 12.5 gauge high tensile wire. I got this at Tractor Supply. It comes in a roll like that. I think I have enough. I hope I have enough. You need a couple pieces of main line. I have more back over here. And then you need just some junk tubing. We use 5/16 tubing around here, but this is what we used last year. Like I said, we had a bunch unloading into a bucket, into various buckets. Probably 15 buckets around here in addition to the tote. Don't mind the tote, we're gonna level that thing. But we had it all unloading into a bunch of buckets, and that's just a huge pain in the butt. So we're gonna have everything go into this tote and then some 55-gallon food grade barrels. So anyway, some junk tubing. What we use to secure the actual main, the cable, the wire, is the Gripple tool. And the Gripple tool has some of these really neat little fasteners here. And so for 12.5 gauge, you need the mediums. So anyway, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so this is what I got. You got the loose end down here. We got a piece of 5/16 tubing right there that we threaded on there. We have our 1-inch main line here. That's just junk, it's just extra. And very first we put on this Gripple. Now the way that this Gripple goes on, it goes to the blue. It goes on this side first, opposite of the blue. And then that end is going to be threaded back down through here after we wrap it around the tree. So I'll show you what I mean now. And we are not going to tighten this thing down. We are only going to just secure it. But once you put this Gripple on, it's going to be on there. So make sure that it's the correct tree, that it's where you want it to be, but we're not going to tighten it down. All right, so this is what we got. Got a Gripple here. It's not going to unloosen. If you wanted to take that thing off, you'd have to cut it out of there. We have our main line with our tubing going through it, with our wire going through that. It's kinked back here, but that's okay. And you see how loose it is. I'm keeping it just like that, just so it doesn't come off. All right, now we're gonna take our wire, we're gonna take all our stuff, and we're gonna head on down this hill, and we're gonna put this where we want our main line to go. So we're gonna start walking it on down that direction. All right, so what I'm doing is very carefully watching my step. I'm just unwiring, or I'm unreeling this here. Just be really careful and don't let it unwind, because it'll unwind like a spring and it's gonna be all knotted up and you'll be not happy. So anyway, that's what we're gonna keep on doing. And also I wanna say there is a method to where I'm going with this in between the trees. You wanna be close to trees, that way you can have something to side tie your wire to. And we'll get into that in just a minute, but you can see I'm pulling the wire close to trees so that we can have support for it. You can see we're almost out, but if you see where that flag is at the very end, sorry about the, if you see where the flag is on that tree, that orange flag, that's where we're going. So I think we're gonna have enough. All right, so we're down here at the other end, at our lower end. See, we got lots of drop. It's gonna be our anchor tree. This anchor tree is gonna be just fine for this. No problems at all. What we're gonna do is thread on a gripple first. Then we're gonna put our 5/16 junk tubing on there. And then we're gonna put that through this. We're gonna wrap around this tree and secure it. You're gonna put it through just like that. So you see we have our long end going in, going around the tree, and then it comes out that other side. And we're just gonna leave this right like that, because we're gonna be able to take up a lot of this slack just by side tying. So I'm gonna show you about that. But, all right, y'all, so here we are. I've only tightened up each side just a little bit with the gripple tool. All right, because you want a lot of slack to work with. If you end up not having a lot of slack, that could be bad. You want slack so that you can get rid of any problems that you might have. One of the main things that you want to do is make sure that all of your turns are gradual. They can't be sharp or anything like that. So the way that you make a nice gradual turn is to side tie your wire to several trees. All right, so what we're gonna do is side tie this wire here to this tree. We're gonna go over here. We're gonna side tie another part of this wire to a tree over here. And we're going to be able to make a nice gradual curve that's going to come down that hill, come down here, and go around there. And then we're also going to make a gradual turn down there. Now, we might have to cut down that one tree that you can see that wire is up against. And if you need to do that, you can do that to make more slack. So anyway, I'll show you what I mean here. So for side tying, I took this piece of 5/16 tubing. We're gonna put it around this part here, and then we're gonna hook it to this. All right, so this is my first one here, very first one. So you can see how this looks. We got this tied loosely. I'm gonna come back and we're gonna tighten this up. But we don't wanna pull all the slack out of this whole line, because we need some slack in some other spots. So we just tied this pretty loose. Once this is done, this is gonna be super, super tight. So I've come down here, I did another one. See, so I want this, see how this is gonna go. So I did another one here, and we spaced out, and again, this is loose. All right, I have a lot left over. So I've tied it up here. I have my tubing there. And that makes it good too, because you can then bring it up or bring it down to tighten it or loosen it. Plus it protects the tree. So we're gonna keep this like this. All right, and then we're gonna go on up. And little by little, we're gonna go and we're gonna put more and more tension on this. All right, so we're starting to get some tension on this thing. You can see how I use these trees as sort of supports here. So this is gonna get a lot tighter. And what we're gonna end up doing is putting a piece of 5/16 tubing, probably like cross cut or ripped down the middle here and on a couple of these other trees where it sort of rubs. But that's good because it gives it tension. So you can see this is not nearly enough tension yet, but it's way better than what it was. So what we want to do is go up here and just fix this a little bit. And this is important to have this tubing on the ends in case a tree falls on it or a branch. All it'll do is just fall right to the bottom, and you can come back and fix it really easily. That's why it's also important that when you're doing your side tying, you're not using this, you're using a much smaller gauge wire, like an electric fence type wire, because that will snap, and which will save you damage to this. And you can see this is a job putting this up. So we're going to bring this all the way up here, and then we're going to continue side tying. All right, so now I'm going through, and I have my wire up preliminarily. So what I'm doing now is just trying to clean off the run. You can see this is still very loose. It's way too loose to do anything with. And now I'm going through and I'm cutting all the trees and all the stuff that either could fall on this that are dead, or just saplings that are getting in the way. So I'm using this stuff sort of to my advantage. So this was a dead tree that was right there. I cut it off. So this could be used as a support here in a little bit. Same thing with this one. So I'm going to keep on going down the line. And you see this tree right here, or this little sapling? It's touching that wire. I don't want that. So I'm going to cut it off right about there. All right, y'all. So I wanted to give you an update. I also wanted to show you what you do when you have a long run. The best practice is to have a side tie every 20 to 30 feet. You don't want to go any more than that, because when your main line is full of sap, maybe not full of sap, but when it's really running, it's going to sag. And any spots that are low, or especially if you're on property that doesn't have a grade like ours does, you know, you could run into some really real trouble. So you want to have side ties every 20 feet, every 20 to 30 feet. And you see what I did here. It's super simple. I'm not using Mainline for that. I'm just using 5/16 tubing from last year that's just old. And this is what we do with it. And you see how we secure it. Secure it on both ends. All right, so if you go down here and look now, you see I got a big run with nothing here. So where am I going to have my next side tie? Because you cannot have this. That's way too much. It's way too much give. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on this tree right here. So what you want to do essentially is take it. We're going to put it on this tree right here. What you want to do is essentially take it, put your body up against it like this, push it over, and then you're just going to do your side tie. And that's going to hold it on up. So you can see I'm good now. I got a tie maybe 15 feet up there, and then I'm going to have another one here. And like I said, we use this extra tubing for a reason, all right? We do that for two reasons. If this branch were to fall on here, which it's going to at some time, or another tree is going to fall on this, trust me, it's going to happen. This wire here is going to snap because it's less strong than this. If the wire doesn't snap, it's going to just ride down the tree. all right? And all you're gonna have to do is come back up. Also, another reason is so that you can level this or add drop or grade in your line. So if you needed to make it less steep, you can very easily slide this up or down, or you want to make it more steep or whatever. It's very, very easy to adjust it. So this is why we do that, and it works great. And you can see there's really starting to get some tension on this line. Now, let me say this. This wire that I'm using here, I'm sorry, but I don't know the gauge of it. It's not bad, but I would use the next size up. And I think that that's what I'm going to do. The next time I go to Lowe's or wherever, Tractor Supply, I'm going to go and buy a spool of the wire that's the next thicker. And I'm going to come back and just redo this one at a time. So it's not going to harm anything. But I did have this last year, about halfway through the year, like at this point here where there's a lot of stress and strain on there, it'll snap eventually. So the next size up is really what you want to do. I'm not talking about this wire. That's 12.5 gauge, high tensile. I'm talking about this wire. So we need the next size up, but I don't know what that is. All right, so I have this almost done, getting really, really close. So what I want to do now is go and I want to find the spots that still need some support. Everything here is really tight. It's looking really good, but there's a spot here. You can see there's a side tie maybe up there. Maybe you can't see it. And then there's one here, but there's some slack in this. So we're going to do something here with it.
If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We really appreciate it.
All right, everyone, this is done. So I'm going to take you down. I'll show you what we did, and we'll take a look at it. So you see here we got the Gripple. This has turned out perfectly. We're going to have this main line, or this lateral, run down into this main line here when we install it. So walk down here. There's more than enough drop here. All right, so we're coming down here. We use this to our advantage. Got a side tie here. And this where it might be a little bit tricky to get that drop, but all we'll have to do is raise this one up. And not get stuck by these thorns. Put down in the comments below what kind of thorns you all have at your place. I know what kind we have. These kinds are horrible. I try to get rid of them. Cut them as much as I can, but anyway, so that's why you want to do this. In order to move this up a little bit, to give it some drop, all you got to do is just pull this in and pull that up. All right, so that's looking good. You see how we secure that. Come on down here. This is looking really good. Now what I do, see, I have this here, holding this back, and it's attached to that tree there. I always put some little flagging on here, just so I know, because I'll end up running into it. All right, that'll work. So we'll continue on down here. There's 2 sugar maples right here. Really nice looking ones. Walk on down here. Even just a little bit of slope. I think 2% is really what you're looking for. And see, so here, I can lower this if I wanted to. We got this tied really good because there's a lot of stress on this right here. Like I said, I'm going to replace probably at least a couple of these wires because they ended up failing last year. It just wasn't thick enough. Come around here. And guys, I didn't I actually did not go to either end and apply any pressure or tighten down the gripple at all. I got rid of all the slack in this line simply by side tying. So I did not go in and use that gripple tool to hold these down. So we got this here. This is looking really good here. And see, it makes a nice gradual turn. It's looking good. All right, that's looking good. This. I started this, I think, at 9:30. It's now 2:42. And I don't know how long this is, but I mean, I think it's probably 400 feet, maybe. All right, so I think y'all get the idea. You know what the standard is. Every 20 to 30 feet, you need to side tie it. And we'll go all the way down here. Go down here, and I'll show you where it's going to empty out at. And you can see, I mean, I put them more there are more side ties than required, and you want more because, believe it or not, there ends up getting some weight on it. Might have to put a side tie right here from this tree to here, because that's a long span. And you can see, it'd probably be all right, but once you put up the main line, the time to do that is over. So you got to get this right. Sugar maple there. So that's why I'm really taking my time to make sure that this is correct. Because once you attach the main line to it, it's much harder to make any corrections to it. So you see down here, I mean, this is really tight here. Sugar maples. Coming on down here. Here we go. And then here's the end. And our totes are 55-gallon barrels.
So that's
right
it, everybody.
here.
That's the video. The next step is going to be putting up the 1-inch main line to collect our sap. So be sure to watch that one. We'll put a link to it in the description. And we'll see you next time out on the ridge.